Okay, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to be working on my E89Z4. Remove this strut bar. If you don't have a Torx large enough, what I use is a 6-point, I guess you could use a 12-point, 14 millimeter socket. It'll fit right on and it'll work like a Torx, like the female Torx socket, which I don't really even know what size that is, but I just use a 14 millimeter. So I think you get a little better grip with a 6-point than a 12. So you got to get that strut bar off, and then we get this cover off. Okay, you got these little guys. It's kind of hard to see. There's these little things you push in, and then you pull them out, and pull that out. So now that those little guys are out, these things come out like this. This cover comes off. And now we get to look at the engine, which it's great because I don't have to get any of this stuff off as far as I know right now, which I already had the whole intake off earlier because I did a valve cleaning, which this car was so surprisingly clean inside. It really wasn't like the N54. It was much cleaner. But while I had it off, I cleaned it and replaced all the gaskets. At 30,000 miles, I wanted to see what it looked like. And looked a lot cleaner than the N54s do at 30,000. Like, it would look like an N54 at like 5,000, this at 30,000. So it's the direction injection with the oil getting inside your intake, the gunk, the carbon buildup and all that other stuff is not as extreme as it is on the N54 or N55. All right, yeah. So make sure your battery is completely unplugged. That's the first thing you should do. Doesn't make sense to be getting this stuff off without the battery unplugged. It's not worth the risk messing anything up. So I'm going to get my other camera with a tripod, and I'll get started with this valve cover. So, yep. Okay. First thing, I would unplug this harness right here. I believe this harness, but I don't know for sure, but I believe this is to the Valvetronic. There we go. So I got the Valvetronic harness, and that thing should pull off. Okay, then I have a Torx, which this looks like there's two Torx. They're probably 30 to get this wastegate actuator off. I believe that's what that is, but I'm gonna plug this. I got these two bolts right here to do, and you probably kind of want to document. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna pop it off this one down here, which that felt kind of loose. That was good to discover that. So anyway, I'm gonna remove. Probably just keep this on and remove that later, but so what I'm going to do now is grab these. It's a socket Torx, and I'll let you know exactly what size it is. Okay, these larger is a socket E10 Torx socket that goes on the main valve covers. These are smaller. Before I try to loosen these up, I am going to grab a wrench and start on these fuel rail connections. You kind of want something to hold it in place while you're doing that. And of course I got to unplug it. Actually, I don't even need to unplug it. I could just move it on over. So just get that out of the way, and then I'll get started. All right, I'm going to unplug. I believe this is the fuel pressure regulator harness. So I'm going to unplug this guy. This wire's kind of screwy in there, blocking my finger from getting to it, but I'll figure that out. So I'm going to unplug this, which it's right back there. There's a little tab back behind it, and it just pulls right on out. Okay, so that's unplugged. Make sure your battery's unplugged. Am I recording? I'm good. I'm still recording. Okay, so 17 millimeter. You're probably going to want to be real careful when you're loosening this one up, because there's pressurized fuel in here. So you know what? I'm gonna start off. Well, you know what? You could probably keep this whole thing together. Probably just keep this whole thing together here, and you unplug this harness as well, right here. I'm gonna keep this together. Oh well, I'm gonna have to take it apart from the way I could see all this. So, you know, I'm gonna start with this one down here, just because if fuel starts to leak, it's not gonna go all over inside the engine. It'll actually leak down right here. So I will pop this one off first, and real slow, let that pressure leak, let it leak. All right, so that one's off. That one's still pressurized. That one off. Okay. This whole fuel system needs to come up and out. But before you get these things unloosened, you know, you gotta, it's common sense. You want to get all this stuff loose, because obviously you don't want this thing moving around when you're wrenching these things off. So this is a 17 on these large ones. Right there. Then I will, you know what, I'm going to go with the coils next, because I'll have more access to this. It doesn't make sense to try to loosen those with the coils in. So I'll take the harness off the coil. I twist it a little bit and pop the sucker out. These Delphis are much easier to remove than the, well, they didn't have the other ones with this engine, so, but yeah, you gotta take your injectors out, or not injectors, your coils. So, almost sounded like Nancy Pelosi right there. I might have, you know, how she said Bush instead of Trump. I don't know why they don't just give the guy a break. I mean, Jesus Christ, he can't do any better than he is. Getting all political and stuff. Anyway, I gotta pop this off. You could probably get a flathead under here. It'd probably be a lot easier. I'll do myself a favor. And then I gotta unplug this one after this is out. So let me get this done. You don't need to watch me do the whole freaking thing. We know to remove the coils. Yeah, I don't need to use a screwdriver. I find once I undo the harness a little bit, I just twist them a little and pull, and they come right up. So now that these coils packs are out, I'm gonna actually remove these grounds right here, and then I'm gonna unplug these harnesses, and then I'm gonna hit these with the 14 millimeter or 14 open end wrench. Okay, 8 millimeter, which I'm using a 5/16 just because I had one right here. I didn't feel like looking for my 8. You know, 8 is all, you know, how it is. So anyway, you use an 8mm or you could use a 5/16, which is kind of sinning a little bit, but whatever. So you pop those off and just make sure that you keep those little things nice and safe. Put them where you don't want to lose them. Probably get a little baggy. I mean, you can label it if you want. I mean, there's only 2 of them, so, and how hard would it be to remember that? Looks like it's going to be easier to just take these off, these injector lines off next, before I could unplug these, because they might have another tab on the other side I need to deal with. So I get these off. I try to be as gentle as I can with these things. I just barely crack them first. Just be very careful. These lines look pretty fragile. Okay, so now that these are cracked, it's kind of loosening them up a little bit. A bit of fucking gas dripping in there, so you probably want to grab a towel. Just put that towel in there, because it's not the best idea to have gas dripping where your ignition coils are going to be. You know, save yourself a little catastrophe after you get done. Which, of course, all this stuff's coming off anyway, so it's not like it's going to be existent anywhere. So, but yeah, just loosen these suckers up. Now that these are all loosened up, I'm going to, now that these are loosened up, I'm going to get these, and we'll find out what kind of Torx that sucker is. Okay, I don't know if you could see these little guys. I can't get this camera closer unless I take it off the tripod. So, here, I'll just do it. These guys right here. That's a E8 Torx female socket. And I was looking for mine forever and I couldn't find it, so I'm just using a 1/4 inch, which, unless you had a 6.6 millimeter, but this quarter works. So that's pretty much so. Just be careful, make sure you don't drop the bolt inside your stuff. It would be kind of wise to have one of those little stick magnets ready. Anyway, this 1/4 inch works pretty damn good if you don't have the special little socket tool. You can always improvise with stuff, you know, just make sure it's not going to strip your deal. That's pretty self-explanatory right there. Okay. Believe me, my tone annoys I annoy myself with my own tone, so if I'm annoying just the way it is, unfortunately. So anyway, now that this fuel rail is off, there's these little bastards right here, which those look even smaller than quarter. Yeah, so those will probably be 5mm, but they're not 5, they're special little Torx deals. But all right, if you could see these little guys, they're small. I don't know exactly what size a Torx socket you would use. I'm having a hard time finding all my little Torx sockets. I don't even know if I have something this small, but what I will work is a 5mm, so I'm just gonna put the 5 on there. And trying to do this one hand. I have a SLR, so it's kind of a big bulky camera. It's okay. I use this thing. I used to use this thing when I would snowboard and film snowboarding and shit. Well, it was badass anyway, blah blah. It's a big camera anyway. It's funny when you're doing 360s and flips and stuff when you got this big old camera. But anyway, this 5mm works pretty good for these little guys. So, and yeah. So, and then there's another one back here. So you got to get that one off. Just make sure I'm going to need to get a wrench on that one, but just, you know, and then this whole thing will come off and out of the way. So just, you know, common sense, make sure you don't force anything. There's one thing my grandpa told me, he said, never force anything. And I've used that all my life, and that's the rule I like to follow. Never force anything. So anyway, I'm going to get that sucker off. Okay. Now I'm going to get this guy out back here. So I'm just going to use one of these with the 5mm again, and just make sure everything goes okay. You know, I think I'm doing this in the right order. I don't know for sure, but this video is probably not the... Of course, BMW is not going to be coming out with one. They want you to go to the dealership, but I'm trying the best I can. So just bear with me with this thing. You know, it's got to be better than nothing. So it'll give you a general idea of what you're going to get into. Okay, and then I could start unplugging all this good stuff, but what I'm going to do with this before I unplug it is I'm going to label this top and bottom, because these look like they might be the same harness, and it looks like I don't want to mix these up. So I'm going to label that with some blue painter's tape with a T and a B for top and bottom before I even unplug those, just because those don't look like, it looks like you don't want to mix those up. I mean, you can just put, you know, one little, you can just mark one of them. So you know, just put tape around one at least. If you do that, then you know that that one's, you know, there's only one other one, so you really don't need to mark two of them. So I'm gonna just bam, plug this guy. And of course you gotta push these things in. Sometimes it's easier than other times. This one is becoming a royal pain in my ass because I got big fucking hands. Let's see how that works. Okay, we got that side part, we got this. Okay, maybe I gotta go that way with it, and that's what's going on. There we go. Okay. So now at least one of these things is marked, which I could mark the other one, but there's two of them. What, you know. I'd just be a little too OCD if I'm starting to do stuff like that when there's only 2 wires. This is like a walk in the park compared to the swap I did with my SL55. That was some real electrical work here to deal with. Not just all this plug and play shit that AMG has. I hate those things exposed. It just makes me, makes me cringe a little bit. That fuel shit exposed, but okay. And I just got to remember how this goes. You can pull that out, or you can unplug that, whichever way you want. There's still another one back here, down here, which I'm going to need. This is actually, I think this is the fuel supply, and then this is the return. So, yeah. So I got to get this fuel supply. It's probably back there. That's the supply, and then yeah, goes back, and then there's the return. Or that's the return. I don't remember what I did, but whatever, that needs to come off. And it's always good to kind of remember which pipe goes where. I mean, it's not going to be, it's not a very big puzzle. So, get that shit. Yes, this is indeed the fuel service. So this, you can probably, once this is unplugged, probably don't even need to take it off. But if you wanted to, there's a 10 millimeter back there that holds the, that holds this holder, and then it snaps right off. But it doesn't look like it's necessary right now, so I'm going to just start to unplug these things. I don't know if I need to push them in or pull them out. I'm going to find out right now. I think okay, so you got to push it this way to get that out. And then this right here, yeah, they pull out, they don't push in. And of course, I'm doing this ass backwards a little bit. I got to unplug these, which I need to get these off to get these off, and then I got to get this off, then I can pop this off. And then I'm going to get this wastegate solenoid actuator popped off right there. So let me get, these are 10 or 11, I'll find out. Okay, so you got 2 10s on this side. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get one of these. Fuck. Anyway, don't drop your fucking motherfucker. You know what? I hate these fucking don't get an extension that sucks without a fucking little thing in there. So you get a 10 on there. I'm using kind of too small of a, I just can't find a deep socket 10 with the larger ratchet with the 3/8 drive. We got this 1/4 inch drive bullshit right here, but this thing's all, anyway, you got to get this off. That 10 millimeter, and just remember that the ground one with the stud on the top is at the top, and then the long screws at the bottom. And once you get this off, I believe it will allow you to, that bracket, it'll allow you to have access finally to observe and try to unplug these things. I'm going to see exactly how they go. Is that unplugged from that side? Okay, there's this right here. So I think this tab needs to pull out, or does it need to be pushed in? Let me see. It's either one or the other. Goddamn motherfucker. Oh, there's one at the bottom right here. Probably edit this fucker right here, because yeah, there's this little tab right under there that pulls out at the bottom of this thing. It's not at the side. So, and yeah. I guess you could try to mark these. I think you'll be able to figure out where they go back. But this side, I think I'm gonna have to get a little flathead screwdriver on that side to get that one out. So I'll get a little flathead on under this little thing right here, or is it on this side? No. Yeah, and then I could pull that out. Once I pull that out, I'll be good. So, okay, while I'm at it, here, all this fuel rail stuff, which I'm leaking it all over the fucking car right now, but this stuff, just put it in a plastic bag, maybe a shopping bag or something. Just get it to where there's not any dust or anything that's ever gonna go inside, and because you definitely don't need any particulates in your fuel rail system or any of your fuel system. So that's common sense. Yeah, like see, bag it good. Bag it up good. You do not want anything in your fuel system. That defeats your whole purpose of all the work you're doing with your car. You don't want to fix one problem and then cause another. So, but I gotta get that flathead now and get that harness off. I just had there it is. All right. So I believe, is that it? I should probably get a fucking flashlight. But yeah, there's this little tab, which I couldn't see it, kind of did it blind, but they'll pull out. Don't ever force it. Don't ever force it. Just be very, very careful. And just these things exposed kind of freaks me out, man. They makes me nervous. Makes me real nervous. I got this screwy deal here. And I'm going to try to find the torque specs. I mean, there is a definite procedure on your torquing, your torque pattern on when you're tightening this valve cover down. So I mean, you could either start like a head and start in the middle, but with the way this one looks, it looks like it would be easy to just start at the corners and then work your way from after you do your corners, which I'll get to that. Getting ahead of myself. But once you get to the corners, then you could work your way to do your corners, then you start from the center and then work yourself out in a zigzag pattern, and kind of don't torque it all the way, just good and snug, and then go again with it and get them all good and snug. You don't need them too torqued. I will look at the specs. I don't believe they're more than a few foot-pounds, maybe 6 foot-pounds. You have to be real careful, because if you over torque these things, you're going to be running into some huge major problems, because you'll strip your head. You do not want to strip your head. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is take this fuel. It's a fuel pressure regulator, it looks like. I thought it was at the end of that rail. This is Okay, anyway, I'm going to get this off. That looks like a Torx. That's a T. Let me see. Okay, T30, I believe. T30 male Torx. Oof. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. Look at that. Look at that. Anyway, I'm going to put this in the bag. In the bag with the other fuel stuff. Okay, now, what have we here? Ooh, I got this little guy right here still, which I don't even need a screwdriver to get this one out. I can use my fingernail. Or can I? See, a flashlight is always a good tool. I should have it out right now, especially because I'm making a video, so you could actually see what I'm doing in detail. I mean, what a horrible, probably have like 500 dislikes. And I'll probably have 500 views, I don't know. But I'm gonna get that one other little, this little bastard out, and this little son of a bitch right here. Oh shit. It's all getting nitty fucking gritty at this point. So, is it on this side or is it on this side? It's not on that side. See, I can't see very well. I need to get I need to get light. I mean, I'm doing this shit it's dark. Shouldn't be doing it in the dark. Anyway. You just have to be real careful, because if you fuck anything up, you're going to be really regretting it. And that's the only time you pulled off saving money from going to the dealership, because if you end up screwing something up and have to go to the dealership, you're going to be in even deeper, and you wasted time and money and your pride and all that other shit, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to take this bitch off now. I'm going to keep those hoses connected though. I don't really want to unplug them. I'm just going to take that off and move that harness out of the way if possible. I believe it is. And if this is a T30 Torx. Can't even see where the freak I am. I was all talking and you were like, what is he talking about? Right here. So this T30 Torx, which I believe this is the wastegate solenoid actuator or something to that nature. If I'm a little off on stuff with what it is, don't, it's, at least you know the procedure. So okay, there we are. So this guy gets out of here. Put this sucker out of the way. All right, so now that I'm looking at this thing, what I have left. What do I have left? Now, I could move this out of the way, nice and easy. Nice and easy. Out of the way, buddy. Out of the way. So that's out of the way now. All right, now that that's out of the way, this thing will come right out of the way. There's no point in unplugging this because it's not going to obstruct the valve cover gasket as far as I know to this point. I may, retort that, but I don't think so. I think that doesn't need to be removed. I'm not going to do any more than I have to. And I wouldn't expect you to either. This sucker could get out of the way. This sucker, these oxygen sensor, oh, that was good. I labeled them. That's what they were. But I'm not gonna remove those. I'm gonna try to remember the grays on top. The grays on top and the blocks on bottom with this. But I'm not gonna even unplug them. I'm just moving them out of the way. Just so I could have access to this and to these torques, which I'm going to use this is a E10, which you could probably, if you don't have an E10 socket torques, you can probably get away with a 8mm will work. So I'm going to get started with this. Oh yeah, before I start that, I'm going to unplug these just because I don't want to be forgetting to do it. So you got to unplug. You got to unplug this guy right here. And then unplug this guy right here, which this camera is going to fall off right now. So I wouldn't be taking my time to do this video if there was another one on here. Sometimes I make videos where there's lots of other ones just because I get a little, but this car I haven't seen one, so I'll make sure that there is a video. At least you guys will have a gist of what the process is, and I'm sure you'll be fast forwarding through this shit pretty rapidly, but at least you'll get a gist of what's going on. So these are unplugged. These are actually going to have to go on the other one. Look at that leak of oil, but that's because of this crack right here. This thing does not need a new valve cover gasket. The valve cover's cracked. However, I'm not going to take this valve cover and put another valve cover on without new gaskets. That's ludicrous. So I have a whole gasket kit that I'm going to put on. I'm looking at this thing and it's looking like this thing's, it looks like I don't have to do shit with this. It looks like, or unless maybe I do. I have to look at the other valve cover and see if this is an actual full circle. I think it is. I think I'm going to have to remove this out. I'll let you know in 2 seconds. I'm going to inspect that other valve cover just to see. I hate when I do that. You don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. What kind of video is that when you don't, how worse of a job can I do? Huh? The only thing I got going for me right here with this video is there isn't another one for this engine. So, but anyway, this thing's may have to come off, it may not. I'm gonna look at that other valve cover and see if it's actual. I think that's gonna have to pull out, just like these two over here. Yeah, there's definitely probably a seal back there, and I might just have to order those seals. I have the other ones from here. I'll use because this probably has less miles than the used valve cover gasket that I have, and it still has the seals in them. I'm talking too much. Let me get to seeing what the deal is with this before I start taking the bolts off. Okay, you do need to get this bad boy off back here, and I believe it's a T30, and I'll find out right now. You got a T30, that goes, that's hard to see. Oh, actually it's a T, it'll be a T40. It'll be a T40, folks. Okay, this is where we are. Behind, that's the firewall right here. Okay. Here's your engine. It's back here. It's back here. That's a T40. Right there you got one, and then you got another one over here. So I believe there's two. There may be, oh, there's another one, there's three. I see another one, so you got three. Okay, 3 T40s. Oh, actually, I think you only have two. I'm sorry, you have two. You have two of these. And this, to get this off, you get a flathead, which try to do it with and I need to get, actually this one's looks like a pretty easy one to squeeze. You don't need to go on the top, you just squeeze that on, squeeze and pull that fucker out. Excuse my language, it's a natural reaction. Anyway, so there's a T40 and I believe there's two of them you need to remove back there. And I'll get to those. Alright, T40 baby. T40. I just find if you don't rush, you're alright. Make sure you're going lefty loosey. If you fuck it up, get it done. Just screwed for life. All right, man, like there's no point in even you looking at my back, so I'll take that sucker off and continue. Okay, there were three T40s that were holding on to the back. This goes on the back of the valve cover. I don't think you need to play with this too much. I say you be very, very careful with it. And you got three. You got 1, 2, and 3. One down there, and then you'll get to it. I mean, as long as you know what's going on. And I'm just going to move this right back here. I'm going to be very careful with it because it looks like one of those things that if you fuck it up, your car's not going to ever run right. So I just get it out of the way. Okay, now that I got that off, now I can get to finally, it looks like I can finally, inspecting everything, making sure there's nothing else going on. So, ooh, see, I didn't even gotta do this. That just comes right out. See, that saved me a little bit of time. And you know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea. Actually, I would like to have some, I'd actually like to have some tin foil. If you have tin foil, that's a little bit better. I don't like to put the tape directly on this because it's fucking sticky and I don't want sticky shit near my fuel. So I'll just do a little retarded. Well, I don't mean to say that word because that's not cool, but even though I am half fucking retarded, but anyway, it doesn't make it right. But anyway, I just tape this up, try not to get the tape fucking part directly on the nipple. You know, I use tin foil is the best. I don't have any tin foil right now, but tin foil is the best because you can just wrap that up as long as you cover. Can't even see what I'm talking about again. Here's again, you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? This is the fuel service, so just make sure it's, you know, get some tin foil. Don't do this because this is stupid, but I'm doing, or whatever. Just make sure it's blocked off correctly. So now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know if I counted that one, so I have 14 there. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then these little guys right here. So, but I'm going to get these off first, because I know when I pull the valve cover thing, I'm just going to get this. I think this is the Valvetronic deal. I'm hoping this isn't some special, there isn't a special way to pull it off. If I end up making a mistake with this, at the very least, you'll know. So you won't make the same mistake, because I'm pretty much pioneering this, because I don't have any kind of instructions to even, there's nothing on this motor that I have found. Maybe I overlooked it, but to my knowledge, I haven't found anything on how to do this shit. But it's all it's pretty common sense stuff here. Oh, and make sure you don't ever drop anything inside that little hole right there. You'd probably be real freaking screwed, because that's not part of the valve cover. Okay, so now that that's unplugged, I'm hoping I am not. Oh, okay. Okay, that's okay. That is just a holder for this. So that's good. All right, so now I got these 20. I believe there's 20 of them, and it's you can either use a E10 Torx female socket, or you can go with a 8mm 12 point. I don't know why I put this in here. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed today. Okay, well, let's get going with this. So now let's start removing these. I'm going to start with the corners and just kind of work my way around how you would want to torque it down. You want to kind of remove it that way. I guess it's not that as important when you're removing it, but yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting for FedEx to bring this radiator, because that also is being replaced, because the new one I put in there the plug was fucked up. So, but you probably don't want to be using an air tool like this. It's probably not the best idea. Definitely don't want to use it when you're, because saving time doesn't save time all the time. But you definitely don't want to use it when you're torquing it down. You get away with it a little bit with loosening it, but definitely don't want to be torquing it down with this thing, because you want to fuck it up. You can't really feel what torque it is. Okay, these things probably won't fall off, because there's a ring inside of them that will prevent them from coming out all the way. So you can just go with it. Ooh, I see some other things that I'm going to show. Well, oh, that's not part of the valve cover. I guess I don't need to do that. Just be careful. Oh. I speak too soon. I always speak too soon, mate. That was the worst fucking job of ever covering a fuel rail in my whole life. Do yourself a favor, get some tin foil to cover that sucker, because that little paper and tape deal is ridiculously dumb. See, you're not only learning what to do, you're learning what not to do at the same time. See, it's a dual purpose video. Do I have them all? I know there will be one that I'll miss, because there is always one that I miss. There's always one. There's always, well, maybe there isn't. Did I get them all? Well, I'll find out. I'm sure there will always, maybe this is the first time in my life there won't always be one. So now you just gotta be careful, man, because this thing's gonna want to stick. You don't want to get a freaking screwdriver in here. You know what? I might be changing that. There we go. Nice and easy. Easy fucking does it. Some of these motherfuckers aren't out all. And these things, I think you might need to be very careful and get your flathead under here and be very careful. Very carefully. Don't fucking drop it like that. I fucking probably wrecked the fucking goddamn thing. Son of a bitch. Just be very careful. That's what's holding it on. And this one's on the left. I don't think it makes a difference. But I don't know how it's referenced. So I'm just going to make an L on that left one. And I hope the fucking God it didn't drop on this little button and fuck it up. It did scratch this a little bit. Hopefully I didn't fuck this thing up. But yeah, these things got to come out before you even get the valve cover out. That was what was holding the deal up. I'm actually kind of embarrassed I didn't do that first. I mean, I should have damn known better. I used to build engines. Well, I still build engines, but I used to build lots of M3 engines and stuff. So. And then you got to just make sure all your fucking bolts are good. The battery is going low. So just make sure all these are out all the way. And you know, you're going to run into 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 that are loose. Okay, so this is, voila, it's off. Kick ass. See, now that I got this off, now I just stand up on here and I stand up here. I stand up on here and I pee on this shit before I put anything on. It makes it better. But yeah, this is what it looks like. God, dude, that was so dumb. Make sure you get these out first. I just hope that this thing didn't, none of these got in trouble, because that's your timing. Oh, those are your cam position sensors down there. I think this is a Vanos. The Vanos reference sensors. And then those are your Vanos reference sensors. Both those are integrated, so, but this is your dual double Vanos variable timing system. And then you got your Valvetronic valve system. Now I gotta just get a nice microfiber towel and I'm gonna clean all the way around here, clean around here, make sure that shit is really, really, really good and clean. Super, super clean. And then I'll get the gasket on the new valve cover, and yeah, that's gonna be it for right here.